So on the left is my Printrbot Simple that I got October 16th, 2013. Took me 2 months to figure it out and get it working. I made some modifications to it, but right now it's just a workhorse. It's just, I can turn it on and extrude a little bit of filament, and it makes sure that there's glue stick on the mirror, and it just prints. It's really good. I just have to make sure the print doesn't warp. The new printer on the right is the mini Kossel. It's I had to make I started working on it in 2014, early in January, and it needed a few modifications, and I had to replace some of the parts that I had purchased some of the plastic parts, but they weren't good enough quality. They broke, not enough infill. So I printed my own parts on the mini Kossel. I printed on the Printrbot Simple. I printed the green carriage that you see there, the green carriages. I printed those because those broke. I printed some other parts, the effector and some other parts for it. So the mini Kossel is working. I have my own style of print spooler. I bought a wastebasket that's curved at the top and a paper towel holder. And the filament goes through the little hole in the side. Get my light out of the way here. Trying to. So, and then the other spool holder I just have down on the floor down here. It's coming up. Sorry, I'm moving the camera around, jerking. Stay with me. Okay, so the mini Kossel is working here, and what I'm doing is printing parts for another 3D printer. This time I'm building a 3DR Simple, as designed by JohnSL, and he's on the RichRap forum. The original design for the 3DR Delta was by RichRap, Richard Horne, and you can find that on his RichRap blog. And then all the designs are out on Github by JohnSL and RichRap. And then, so let's see. So I'm building a 3DR Simple, which is basically taking all of the scavenging parts off of a Printrbot Simple, is what JohnSL did, and he built a Delta out of them. Well, what I did was my Printrbot Simple is working so well, I didn't want to take it apart, scavenge it. I don't need to. So what I did was I went to Printrbot's website and I bought the Printrbot Simple without the wood frame. So I got the motors, the printer board, the bearings, smooth rods, all that. That came in a box here. So I've got the motors here, under here, the circuit board, power supply, bag of bolts and zip ties and things. The hot end, especially, I like the hot end on the Printrbot Simple. It's just so easy to use. Doesn't require a fan. The fan that's on the Printrbot is to cool the PLA after it's put down by the UBIS hot end. So I'm going to make a Delta like the mini Kossel with plastic parts and Printrbot Simple parts. So I started assembling. This is the bottom frame. It's upside down right now, but I've got the parts. I'm putting the parts together. Got the screws, bought the parts. I printed these on the spool holders. I'm not sure they're going to work. I'm going to try the spectral line first. I went down to the local Fisherman's Marine and I bought 20 yards of spectral line for $2.40. And then I've got TriDprinting's 180 millimeter CF rods I bought, and I've got belts, so if the spectral line doesn't meet my needs, then I'll switch to belts. I've got the parts to do the belts. This is from TriDprinting. No, I'm sorry, this is from Printrbot. This is the gear for the extruder. So I'm going to switch to a geared extruder instead of the direct drive extruder I've got now. And here's the top parts that go for the top of the thing. So I started, I printed 5 of the parts so far on the mini Kossel, and I've printed all the rest of these big parts on the Printrbot Simple. JohnSL designed all of the parts to be able to be printed by a Printrbot Simple. So this print you see here is going to take 4 hours and 15 minutes on the Printrbot Simple. I'm not making it go real fast, but it's moving along pretty good. It's printing at 60 millimeters per second. The infill is 60, and the overall speed. The first layer, of course, goes down at 20 millimeters per second. The travel speed is 100 millimeters per second. And I've got the same speed settings on the mini Kossel. Just as a way of comparing it. Overall, though, it seems to, I'm not sure really, I haven't had a real scientific comparison, but the mini Kossel seems to complete a print quicker than what the Printrbot would do at the same speed settings. So I have to pull on that reel down there. I loosened up the filament without understanding that it gets crossed over. So now I have to monitor it. The one on the Printrbot, that spool I don't have to monitor at all because I started right from the beginning not loosening it. It stays tight and it just rolls right off of there. But I didn't understand how to do filament. All kinds of experience-related learning that's going on. Tacit knowledge is a key part of the 3D printing experience. That's the way I learn about things here. So, sorry I'm moving this around a lot. I got a handheld iPhone 5S here that I'm using. It's not stationary like a lot of guys have a stationary camera. Okay, so there's a little 10-minute update on Richard Turnock's 3D printing farm. So hope you enjoyed this, and it's been a long couple of months trying to get this mini Kossel working, but I think I've got it finally dialed in now. Took me a while to figure out the E3D hot end. I've got a 0.6 millimeter nozzle on it now. I put on a 12 decibel 40 millimeter fan I got from TriDprinting. So I increased the fan from 30 millimeters to 40 millimeters, which almost doubled the square inches of surface being cooled there, moving a lot more air. I make sure that the extruder is retracting when it's not being used, when it's not pushing filament through. The key to the E3D hot end is making sure that the filament is either moving through or it's retracted enough that there's not pressure building up and the temperature's not moving up into the heat sink through the heat break. So instead of thinking about it as the heat being conducted through the metal, you can think about it as the air around the hot end is heating up and the heat is rising and heating up the heat break and the top end of the heating the filament up as it goes up. So that fan is there to cool and move the air so that the heat break and the heat sink don't get too hot and the filament doesn't melt too much and expand inside the hot end. Okay, enough of that. Lesson in hot ends. We got the Bowden extruder working finally. Air tripper extruder that I printed on the Simple. Okay, that's enough.